I ended up leaving the PR firm and switching gears to accept a social media management position instead. And as a result, I got to work from home. I absolutely loved the freedom it gave me, and I knew I would never be able to work at a normal office job after this. It was amazing. The only downside to this was that the company I was working for was brand new and we always had clients coming and going. So my boss ended up withholding our pay for up to a month sometimes. I knew I couldn't live like that, but I still wanted to continue to work remotely. I just didn't know where to go or what I was supposed to do. So I began brainstorming. One day, I was at a friend's house and he was talking about webcam modeling and how he would do it if he were a girl. I got super curious, so that night when I got home, I decided to do my own research and I checked out a couple of webcam sites and decided that, I'll give it a go. My first day webcamming, I made more money in a day than I did in 1 week at the job that wasn't even paying me on time. So I decided to write my boss a letter and tell her that I quit. I got to sit online fully clothed and play games and chat with people who came into my cam room and they would tip me. I sometimes had a really hard time believing that this was my life. I couldn't believe that I was doing so well for myself, doing something so fun. Since I was a teenager, deep down, I had always wanted to be a model for Playboy, and soon after that, I got curious about doing adult film. I was really intrigued by how beautiful the women were and how they got to make a living by doing something that's considered taboo in our society. This never left me, and after I became a webcam model, the possibility that I could do this became so much more real to me. I really liked being in front of the camera and putting on a show for people. It was just my thing, and I knew I was in a good spot with my life. It was a really nice feeling. At that point in my life, I was also way over New York. I was just over the freezing cold, dreary winters and having no sun for 7 months. And I had always loved the idea of living in California too. Oh God, I totally did not draw that correctly. All right, let's try that one more time. Let's see. Okay. Well, that's looking a little better. Anyways, California was always super appealing to me. I've always loved the beach and warm, sunny weather, and it just sounded like a great idea. So I was kind of torn up inside. I was really scared of just dropping everything and essentially restarting my life and just going out on my own. And while I was in the middle of thinking of all of that, my whole world crashed down on me. My grandmother passed away, and shortly after, her daughter, my aunt, lost her battle to breast cancer. When I was at the funeral seeing two people I loved be buried together, I made some decisions. And I decided that I was going to go after what I really wanted because we don't know when our time is up. And I had to truly ask myself if I was happy with my life. It wasn't the case. I had to make a change. So I decided that I was going to go after what I really wanted. After doing a ton of research and finding an agent, I packed up a few cardboard boxes of my stuff and moved out to LA. My first year out in LA was tough, but it was also a year of first. It was the first time I had ventured way beyond my comfort zone. It was the first time I had completely dismissed my friends and family, who told me I wasn't being realistic because I was listening to what my heart was telling me to do instead. And aside from my late grandfather, who had a construction company, I'm the only person in my family who decided to deviate from the normal, safe 9-to-5 work life and work for myself. I could never, ever go back. When I tried to tell people that I cared about, my dad was actually the only one who said that he wanted me to get out and experience the rest of the world, and he was proud of me. My mom, really not so much. She just didn't understand, and all my friends, and, well, not all of them, but most of them, a lot of people I had cared about just doubted me and doubted my capabilities and called me all kinds of things. They said I was dumb. They said I'll be back. They said that it was way too risky and that it wasn't a smart move and that I didn't really know what I wanted with my life. But I know myself better than anyone else, and I knew what I had to do. This was truly the first time that I had been so far away from all my friends and family, and while I missed home, I still thought that it was worth it, and I was self-assured beyond belief that I was going to do well for myself. It would just take time. So my second year in LA, I was so much more comfortable in my new home. I had made more friends and was learning, growing, and becoming more and more confident in myself every single day. I had never been happier. I was getting lots of work. I had my own really cool apartment that I decorated all cute. And I was creating my own life, and the feeling was indescribable. It was something that I knew I was addicted to and that I needed for the rest of my life. This was about the time that I got the idea to start blogging, start making YouTube videos, and to start sharing my life on Snapchat. While the idea scared me, deciding to do this was super important to me because I wanted my followers to see that just because my career involves looking sexy for the camera, I'm just another human being with a personality like everyone else. And ironically, this was a huge step for me because I'd always been a pretty private, low-key kind of person. And in doing so, I finally, fully came out of my shell. As I became more and more in tune with myself, what I wanted out of life, and who I was as a person, I realized that the 6-year relationship that I had been in was no longer bringing joy to my life. And it hadn't for a while. So I took a leap of faith and ended things, and wouldn't you know that I was so much happier with this new lifestyle change. Around this time, I had met a really awesome guy through the music scene who I clicked with instantly. His name was Connor, and he was incredibly kind, goofy, intelligent, just the right amount of weird for me, and not to mention handsome. The number of common interests we had were unreal, and I felt like I could be 1000% myself with him. I'm usually the type to be pretty cautious and guarded when it comes to who I crush on, but I never once felt the need to put up my walls this time around. This new connection was bringing up a ton of really strange feelings that I didn't even know existed before I met him, and we grew closer and closer every day. After spending many months together all day every day, I realized that all these strange new feelings meant something. They meant that I had fallen in love. And for the first time in my life. Yikes. The downside was that he went to school 5 hours away, and even though we both knew seeing each other so often would soon come to an end, parting ways just wasn't an option. We've been dating long distance for over a year now, and while it's not easy, we make it work. And it's so worth it. About a year ago, my younger brother moved from Vermont to live in LA with me and pursue his own career path after seeing me as a living success story. It's hard for me to not see him as my little brother anymore. I still forget he's a grown man, and he'll probably kill me if I call him my little brother one more time. Since we'd always had dogs growing up, we decided to get a mini Australian Shepherd puppy in February named Scout. It felt like a newborn baby had just been dropped on my doorstep. I didn't realize how much work went into raising a dog. But Scout's my baby, and I spoil her rotten, even though she destroys everything I love. Oh, and we just found out she's actually a full-size Australian Shepherd. Scout also loves blankets and sleeping on huge piles of blankets and running through the house with blankets. She's so weird. May 28th, 2017 is a date that I will remember for the rest of my life, where I was and exactly what I was doing. My life changed forever on that date. That was the day that my dad died. He had been a wonderful father to my brother and I, but years of not taking care of himself finally caught up with him. When I found this out, I felt like I was being suffocated, like I was drowning in all these different emotions that I was experiencing at the same time. It was really, really rough. As if this wasn't devastating enough, the behavior of some of his remaining siblings when this all happened was just atrocious. It was an absolute shock and heartbreak to see people I once called my family turn their back on me. But in my eyes, there's always a silver lining, and in this case, losing my dad meant a brand new perspective on life and my priorities in life. It meant choosing to make the most of my time here on Earth, living for myself and spreading kindness as often as I can. It meant reconnecting with people I had lost touch with because life is too short. And I know that it's going to be okay. When you lose someone you love, you're never the same again. You just learn to accept it, live with it, cherish your memories, and live your life in a way that would make them proud. That's how they live on. My life's been a series of ups and downs, twists and turns, and lots of laughter and weirdness thrown in between. And that's how it's always going to be, because I'm always going to choose happiness. Because life's just too short to do anything else.